Okay, good morning, everyone. How's it going? Hello, it's your old pal Z-Bubs here, and I'm distinctly a little contrived here. I'm starting the video off by drinking this green drink, and I decided to set the camera up before I finish it, just to get a good. I don't know, it's different seeing someone drink it than just hearing about it. Oh yeah, and what I'm drinking is green juice. It's Super Greens powder. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm sure they're all the same. This one's kind of sweet, whereas this one, not so sweet. Uh, why am I drinking greens juice? Because I've been feeling depressed for the last few days. Now, I do have these two girlfriends who've probably dumped me by now, or maybe not. I don't know. I kind of felt like they didn't dump me. And the time before then, I thought they did dump me, but then they didn't. So then, by that logic, if I think they didn't dump me, then they did dump me. So who knows? But I haven't really messaged them in a while because I've been depressed. And I saw this video today of this guy who was like, today's my first day of not cranking my meat. And then he has on another video like 10 minutes later. He's like, today's the first day again of not cranking my meat. It's like 20 minutes later. And then again, he's like, he keeps coming on the same video on the same day. He's like cranking his pecker like 50 times in a day. And the response he got was actually really, really good. Everyone was congratulating him actually. Like, oh, you made it, you made it 2 hours. That's actually good for you. Non-ironically, actually happy for you. So right now, I don't know if the camera's. I have these potters here, and I'm planting watermelon seeds. I'll tilt the camera a little bit low so you can maybe see what's going on. I'm pushing these about half an inch into the soil. I just went outside and I got some garden soil to kind of put on the top here because although these are already filled with garden soil, the soil is just too wet. These have been sitting outside, it's been raining, and the soil on top of the garden was a little bit more dry. And all the watermelon seedlings that I had growing for a good little while, they all died after I planted them in the garden. And I didn't know if it was vandalism, if it was a skunk. Didn't know what the deal was. Now I think it'll be funny to put some water in my greens juice jar, which has a little bit of greens powder left over, and use that to water these plants. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. So these should sprout up in a few days, about maybe 5 days. And the thing about growing watermelon seeds, in Ontario at least, is you want to plant them on June 1st, and it'll be Sunday. This Sunday will be June 1st. So I have this tray of watermelon seeds. I'm going to put them right by the window. And then I'll show you what the cats are up to. Todd was being really bad. He attacked me even after I fed him. So here's Stu. Stu is treacherous. And there's Todd. He's on timeout because his new nickname is Shark. It's very rare that he attacks when he already has food. So I'm loving my new battery bank for my GoPro. Here it is. This thing was only $12. This is a 4 to 6 hour GoPro battery for $12. Yes, please. And then I have a bunch of dishes to do, so I don't know exactly how I can do that. I mean, I have to, set the camera up with tape here. Now I am using an old-fashioned GoPro battery for this. Oh well. 85% left. 5 minutes and it's already down 15%. That means 10 minutes, 30%. 20 minutes, 60%. Well, that's not too bad. Okay, I'd say that's about good. You know, it looks like it's about to fall. Oh, we got some scotch tape here. Yeah, there we go. We're all set up perfectly using the wireless mic. Not the best quality of sound, but I'm fucking too lazy right now to do any editing. And sometimes it's difficult. You see, oh man, like I'm a mama's boy, I guess. Like I live at home. Some people would probably choose to be homeless if they had to choose between living with gang-stalking family members. I know a lot of TIs do choose that. But I saw this video today. It was just fucking depressed me. I mean, I've already been depressed. Jumbling my words here. I've already been depressed because I've been jacking off like crazy and God, man. And I've been trying to figure out new secret methods of controlling my energy by jacking off that can translate to when I'm flaccid. And that's just, it seems like a bit of a lie. Like, you know, I learned how to control my foreskin. I learned how to control the muscles in my foreskin. And if it's not for jacking off, I wouldn't learn how to use those muscles. And once I learn how to use those muscles, then it transfers over to when I'm flaccid. So it's better for the time when I'm not jacking off. So actually I had to jack off to learn how to use my muscles because they're in a really primed, amplified state where it's easier to figure out how to use them when you have a boner. But by that logic, if you just don't jack off, you're getting more amped up the longer you don't jack off too. And I'm definitely doing worse than when I was jacking off. Definitely. It was more difficult to not jack off on some level too. I mean, I had more hopes. Like for example, right now, I don't have any energy actually for my two supposed girlfriends and the other ones who are potentials because, you know, I'm jacking off all my energy. So it's like, you know, I've already spent it. And then the problem with not jacking off is you turn into some kind of freak. You turn into some kind of, you know, you're frothing at the mouth and you're, well, I shouldn't say that, you know, but I'm not entirely wrong either. There's some kind of tension that builds up where you're more tense. Now the meditators would say, yeah, that's exactly right. And when you learn how to convert your energy, that's when you can stop jacking off. Otherwise, it's better that you keep jacking off because you're going to become perverted or neurotic if you build up your energy and you don't even know how to store it. You don't know how to hold your energy. You're going to be, why are you tense in the first place? You don't even know why you're tense in the first place. Like, what is this tension that you need to relieve? And what is the malady that you have that's creating your tension? Yeah, that's something I have limited experience with. And it's a little bit difficult too because I have jacked off so much, so I'm kind of drunk right now. Kind of in the drunk phase. I mean, I don't feel confident. I don't feel comfortable. I don't even check my Quora. I'm even afraid that I'm going to have both messages and no messages. If I had a message from a girl right now, I would feel inadequate. And if I didn't have a message from a girl right now, I would feel very inadequate. Fuck. And so I think the tendency is to be stronger and to work out my meditation as I get stronger, to work out how to detense, detention, how to get more energy without becoming neurotic, how to transform, convert my energy, my sexual energy into bliss. How to convert it. Is my conversion process intact? I don't know. It's kind of, I'm like, yeah, kind of, but I don't know. You know, sometimes I think, yeah, I'd be better off just jacking off, but also not. You know, that's a tendency towards weakness. There definitely is a tendency towards weakness. Weakness is way easier. Okay, weakness comes with a lot of pleasure, and it comes with a lot of anesthetization, and it's definitely a scapegoat, or not a scapegoat, but a cop-out. But it could be a scapegoat too, if you're blaming your weakness. You're blaming all your problems on your weakness, but really your weakness is your choice to begin with. And so anyways, I saw this video of this TI this morning. Fucking really depressed me. There's just this guy living in his truck. And he's like, yeah, they prevent us from working. They prevent us from working and they make us homeless. And it was just so sad. I was just like, God, is that, you know, am I brainwashed here? Like, to believe that that the comforts I have are very needed for my happiness? Or is that like just really the stark truth of it? And it's just so sad. That you're totally fucked. You're totally fucked, and that you have nothing to look forward to. And it's just getting worse from here, dude. You're just getting weaker, you're getting older. All your dreams are never going to come true, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And your whole fight is baseless, and your hope is baseless. And it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And you're going to get more and more sad, more and more fucked up, more and more unconscious, more and more weaker. You're never going to pick up where you left off. You're never going to heal. You're never going to trust anyone ever again. You're never going to have another friend ever again. You're never going to have comforts. You're never going to be able to just go on a skiing trip. You're never going to be able to just relax and go snowboarding, or just have a relaxing time biking to the store. You'll never be able to do gardening. If you want to do gardening, you're going to have some terrorist out front threatening to kill you with covert death threats, harassing you. You'll never be able to walk your dog. You'll never be able to have a dog. You can't have a pet. They'll torture it. You can't have a girlfriend. You'll never have a friend. You'll never have sex. You'll never have any sort of security. You'll never feel like you have a safe shelter. You'll never be able to leave the house without setting up a security camera. And even then, you'll be wondering. You'll never be able to drive for long distances for fear that they might try and sneak out somewhere that you've never been before, where there's a blind spot and a place where a lot of accidents happen, and they can hide it as an accident when it's really an intentional vehicular assault or homicide. You know, you'll never get treated normally. You'll go to a store, you want to go to the store to buy some soy curls. You'll never get treated normally. You want to deal with someone on the phone, but they already know who you are somehow. And they're doing they'll say, oh, excuse me, I just had to cough. Or something like that. You can never trust people who are even innocent because they're doing the same things that you've been primed to. They're just coincidentally, literally coughing, but you've been so traumatized that you can't love anymore because it reminds you of that last person you loved who betrayed you. And so can you see why it would look like pointless? Like, why wouldn't you just jack off into infinity, into nothingness? Just convert your entire body into cum. Just get weak. It doesn't matter if you're weak and stupid, because who cares? Because there's no law of reciprocity for you. If you treat someone good, they're not going to treat you good. If you're in the zone, okay, if you get a grip and let it rip, whoever's corresponding with you, they're just trying to kill you. Make some good art, start a business. Well, you're not one of the Freemason members of the club, so your business will not succeed. You want to go out on your own? No, they'll do some kind of, you want to sell something online, they'll do chargebacks. They'll find some way of bankrupting you. And the judge will be in on it, and the cop will be in on it, and the people who work at the credit card company will be in on it. The people at your utilities company will be in on it. The person who remodels your roof and your kitchen sink and your counter, they'll be in on it. And you'll wonder, like I've wondered, how many gang stalkers are there? I don't think there could be more than half the population who are gang stalkers. Because if there was, then it would give too much power to gang stalkers, surely by numbers. Even though they're sheep, when the sheep have numbers, then the sheep could be very dangerous. 99 sheep can kill one lion. And so if there's 90% of the population who are gang stalkers, then the gang stalkers can form unions. They can form human rights groups. They can give themselves more rights to quit, to complain about it, to talk about how they've been pressured into it. Like the gang stalkers who employ me threatened to call CPS unless I kept gang stalking and using my children. Once they had the evidence that I was using my children to gang stalk like they told me to, then I realized that I couldn't stop because they had entrapment or incriminating evidence on me that I had to keep doing it, or else they would call the CPS. You know, it's like the gang stalkers would have more human rights if there were too many of them, so the gang stalkers have to be kept in the minority too. Less than half the population has to be gang stalkers. So if any gang stalker does step out of line, the handlers can say, well, the gang stalking doesn't exist, and this person's as nutty as a TI. They're all crazy. Now, that's my theory as to why there's not the majority of the population who are gang stalkers. And the reason I think the majority are not gang stalkers is because they keep it secret. Why would they have to keep it secret if they were the majority? Now, the other interesting oddity about this is that everyone around you becomes a gang stalker. So maybe not 90% of the population are gang stalkers, but certainly, as Milgram experiment proves and as our own lives prove, 90% of the people who are in proximity to us on our street, on our block, at our work, pretty much everyone that you have contact with turns to a gang stalker. So by that metric, you would have to say, yeah, I guess 90% of the world are gang stalkers. I guess 90% have converted. But if that's true, then why is there the secrecy? So is there kind of some double play there where yes, they can convert nearly everyone, but they don't convert nearly everyone. They just convert everyone near the TI, and then everyone else stays unaware of it. Alexa, stop. So that way the gang stalkers don't become the majority. That way they don't gain too much power through numbers. But either way for us, what's the difference? Because we know that 90% would be gang stalkers. So what does that say about people, about our potentiality to have friends and people we trust? If we already know that everyone becomes a Nazi, then what's your hope of ever having a friend again? And that really does something to you when you trust someone and you love them and they break your heart. That really fucks you up. I mean, or it can at least. I'm sure there's some people who can get over it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who think they've gotten over it, but it's affected them in ways that they don't even realize. Like, they harden their heart so much that it just becomes normal and they don't even see it anymore. Like, it's kind of the irony of a callus. The callus irony is you're super hard, but you don't even feel how hard you are. And I have a feeling that your heart becomes calloused. And you think you're just totally normal, but you don't realize that over time, slowly, you've become just insensitive, untrusting, not receptive to some kind of trust with someone. You just take it for granted. I mean, I certainly do. I just take it for granted that people are evil. I never used to be like that. And I barely even enjoy the trees anymore. I used to just love watching the trees. I could sit for hours. I often sat for hours. And I would just watch the tree in our front yard. We have a maple tree that I really like. There were certain trees I really liked. The gangstalkers even fucked with that. They hung out specifically at a certain tree that I liked, that I would often talk about, this tree that I really liked. And, you know, they ruined everything for me. They ruin all your associations. I don't mean to be negative here, but I'm depressed, you know. I'm trying to get out of it. Okay, I don't mean, sometimes I listen to those videos. I hate them. The videos where it's like someone just saying all the horrible shit that they do, and you're trying to keep a positive attitude. You're trying to think of, like, well, Martin Luther King was gang stalked, or something. You know, you're trying to find a hero or something. And you don't want to hear someone just talk about how shitty it is and how everything's fucked and how you're hopeless. Yeah, but sometimes I need to hear that too, because it kind of vocalizes something that's going on in my mind. And yeah, I definitely feel worse now than I did when I was on my goals, you know? And so that's why I drank this fucking green juice. You know, I haven't jacked off today, so I'm thinking maybe that's good. And really, one of the main reasons why I've given up is because, at least this is what I think now, okay? This is what I think now. And remember, I'm kind of fucked up right now. You know, I'm not high or anything, but it's basically the same. If you get high, if you smoke weed every day, you're gonna have a similar mindset to if you drink soda pop and jack off every day. You're gonna be, you've done stimulants basically, and you've worn out your adrenals until you have adrenal fatigue, until you're in some kind of depression and anxiety. Your brain doesn't work the same at that point. It's a very similar effect. So when you know, they call it junk food, and they call, I think, heroin, they call it junk. I'm pretty sure it's a drug reference, like junk food, because it's like a drug. It gets you fucked up. So in my current state, I'm thinking it doesn't really matter what I do anyway, whether I try my best or not. I feel fucked up either way. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now, when I'm not fucked up, when I'm more healthy, and I am already starting to feel better just after drinking that green juice. I've not been drinking water either for like 3 days. When I'm not fucked up, I think, no, it's definitely better not to be fucked up. And if I get fucked up right now, that's definitely worse. And I'm going to be losing something very valuable here. Don't do this. Clearly, you're on the right track. Yeah, it's supposed to be difficult. Haven't you ever heard in every song, in every movie, the whole story is, yeah, it's supposed to be, no one ever said it was easy, but everything worthwhile takes work, and you gotta just work for it, okay? Yeah, haven't you ever heard that? And my rationalizing brain just says, no, it's just all pointless anyway. It's just, I just can't get it. But certainly I'm sorry for harping on about this. Okay, I'm just gonna finish. I'm just gonna wrap up this point. Certainly, when I'm taking care of myself, I feel better on every level, emotionally, physically. Well, those are the two levels that I'm aware of. Mentally, intellectually, my brain works better, my feelings work better, my body works better, my moods are better, my outlook is more positive, I'm more social. Okay, I'm not sabotaging myself. So, I think it's time to take the recycling out. So we're at 26 minutes. We have 30% battery left. That's not too bad. See Richard on timeout over here. I mean, I was out gardening earlier. I'm just getting some soil. And they've already beeped their horns at me just for that. They're so mean, these people. It's so hard to process sometimes. It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe that this is what people are. Do you hear that? This police siren? Fuck you, Richard. Very bad. Okay, so I'm at the point where I might be setting my goals. Not exactly sure. So I'm going to take a blanket outside because it's kind of cold out, and I'm going to sit outside and maybe set some goals. I don't know. I'm thinking if I start again with goals, I should start slower. Maybe just start with not jacking it. I mean, that's the other thing I miss too, is making videos. Like, it's actually pretty difficult to make videos if you're not healthy and you feel like a mess. I hear a small plane flying over. And I don't want to lose my morale either if I start making goals. You know, I'm gonna never eat anything but kale salad. Yeah, sorry about that. Well, I don't think kale is healthy. You can make shoes out of kale. Kale is as hard as leather. You're not supposed to eat kale. Oh, it's nutrient dense. Is that right? Okay, well, why don't you eat tree bark then? Okay, just because it has nutrient density doesn't mean it's digestible. Well, whatever. I'm just bragging about how much I know. It's not really that I care. It's just I want to be, I want to look cool or something. So what's on my mind is to set a new intention to just not crank off today. Maybe that's good enough. That is kind of worrisome to me because gross gang stalker just walked by, scratching her head. Yuck. Now she's putting on her phone. And now there's seemingly another one right behind you. Anyways, did you know that it's illegal to have crows as pets because they'll steal people's money? You can train a crow to give you money for treats, and then if you let it go into the city, it'll snatch money from tables or wherever there's money. If you leave a $20 bill on a table at an outdoor patio, the crow will be watching and it'll steal it. I think they might even steal money from people's hands. I don't know. But they'll come back with money. There were people who found a crow in prison and they taught it to smuggle drugs for them. You hear a lot of crows around here, and I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. This is just hypothetical, and I have no proof either way. I have no hunch either way either. But it wouldn't be difficult, I don't think, to train a crow to sit outside of someone's house and caw. But anyways, I was thinking I might just start today's goals off really small. Just don't jack off, and maybe even drink like 2 liters of green juice water, something like that. I don't know. It's hard to break the momentum when you're not healthy. It's difficult to break the cycle of that. So, but it's strange because you feel better too. Have you ever figured that out? How does that work? It feels better to be healthy, but yet you don't want to. You don't want to feel better. Why don't you want to feel better? I don't know, but it's just the truth. You know, I know what it is. It's because when you feel worse, you're anesthetized. When you feel worse, you're in less pain. When you feel worse, you're in less pain, but you're in more suffering. And when you feel better, you're in more pain, but you're in less suffering. Plane flying overhead. Second plane since I've come outside. And third gang stalker just walked by. I think he's a gang stalker because I specifically know him and I see him sanking with me a lot. I wouldn't just think everyone walking by the house is a gang stalker. Yeah, so maybe I'll make a vlog here, and by the end of the day, maybe I'll be feeling better. I don't know. I'm definitely not in the best of spirits right now.